Welcome back to 13C. I wanted to take a moment to make a quick video follow-up on the Tavor TS12. I've seen some postings online where people are having issues with certain types of ammunition in the TS12 as far as fitting 5 rounds of 2 3/4 inch shells in and also manually ejecting using the manual release here to eject the rounds out of the tube manually. There's been a couple issues with that as well. So I wanted to cover that in this video, more so than I did in the first video we did. Let's jump into that right now. So let's handle the thing that I've seen the most so far, and that's not being able to fit 5 rounds of 2 3/4 inch shells per tube. For those of you who watched the first video, you'll see I pointed out that in fact not all 12 gauge shells are made to the same standards. S&B rounds, for example, these double-aught buck, and we've seen a lot of people with these lately. The reason is S&B has been blowing these things out for as low as like 25 cents a round. I know I bought a case or two of these several months ago. It may have been almost a year ago now, I don't remember. But anyway, they've been blowing these things out, and possibly one of the reasons is this is a longer shell than other 2 3/4 shells. There's also another oddity with this as well, we'll get into a minute, that ties into the other aspect of it. Anyway, so people who have been having a lot of those issues, a lot of them have been posting and following up with for follow-up questions that they've been using these S&B rounds, and unfortunately that's going to be the issue there. You won't be able to fit 5 in here because the overall length on this is 2.475 inches using the calipers. Now, for those of you who haven't done any others, when you're looking at all these other rounds that I have here, they all fall in the range of 2.29 to 2.31 inches in overall length. So we'll hold a couple of those up right here. We've got Federal Winchester, we've got Federal Winchester, Remington, and Fiocchi here, and all of them fall into the 2.29 to 2.31, and you have this 2 3/4 inch shell, which is coming in at 2.475 overall length. Put that in perspective, when you try and stack 5 of these on top of each other, you're coming up with a difference of 0.875 inches added to the overall length of your stack. That is a huge difference, and that's why you can't fit 5 of these into one of those tubes. It's a huge difference, and by the time you stack 5 of these up, it's big enough difference so that even though this gun is designed to hold 4 3-inch rounds, it still can't overcome that difference with the added length of these shells. Now, why is that a case? I'll let the internet speculate. There's been a lot of social media postings that there's been a lot of quality control issues, allegedly quality control issues, with the S&B ammo that's been coming out over the past year or two. I don't shoot a lot of S&B. This is about the only thing in S&B I've shot in the past year or so, so I can't comment on that. But certainly from the case, and I opened up numerous boxes technically I think it was 2 different lots, because it was a mixed lot. But the boxes come in these 10-round boxes like this to actually make up a case. It's not really a case. Anyway, I'm digressing. In any event, that is why you can't fit 5 of these into the tube, because there's simply not enough room because these are oversized. Now, I have seen one other posting of somebody saying that they weren't able to get some of the federal law enforcement, I forget which type. As far as federal is concerned, I've used Federal Buck and slugs, and I haven't had any issues, but perhaps this one brand of law enforcement is longer. I do not know. But we'll leave that at there, and that ties me into our final point on the tube capacity. I saw IWI, a response from IWI that said some of the shotguns may have actually shipped with an extra follower in each tube. So instead of 1 follower, there were 2 followers in each tube, which would then decrease the capacity. I don't know how widespread that is, and my gut feeling is that very few, if any, escape the factory like that, because most of the people that I followed up with, I've sent some private messages back and forth and tried to figure out exactly what was going on, because I wanted to track this down before I brought this information to you. And most of the people are using rounds that are longer, and if nothing else, you can just set the rounds up next to each other on a flat surface if you don't have a caliper or anything, and just visually eyeball it and look. the difference is substantial on this. You can see it with your naked eye with no problem. You don't, it's not like you have to put a caliper on this to see it. I just wanted to bring you those numbers. In any event, I think that that's the problem the majority of people are having there. Now, this ties in with our next point. The manual release for the TS12 actually letting the shells escape from the tube and releasing shells. And the reason is, again, not all 12 gauge ammo is the same. So, and I'll put all these numbers at 13cgunreviews.com in an article or something so that you can see them. We'll put the link down below. Looking at our data here, I don't want to misquote. All right, so the rim sizes for all the ammo that I've showed you here so far, the rim sizes for the Remington, Winchester, and Federal were all .883 to .884. Very consistent. Now, there are two outliers. The first one was on this Fiocchi, and this is not an exhaustive list. These are just going through what I have here on hand without really digging through stuff. The Fiocchi here was our outlier on that. While its overall length was in line with everything else, the diameter down here on our rim is not. This was bigger than those, and it came in at .887. Now, again, the big boy in the group was the S&B. Yet again, this came in at a .889. Now compare that to the .883 to .884, .889. You start stacking on thousandths of an inch and they start equating to issues like not functioning properly. Now, to IWI's credit, to the bolt face and the extractor, I did shoot a bunch of these and I didn't have any issue with them extracting at all and functioning in the gun. As each round fired, it loaded fine, it ejected fine, other than the fact you can't fit 5 rounds in, which I did note in that first video. But one of the things I didn't do was manually cycle in and out using that manual release, all these different rounds, so I did not catch that this one had that issue. So what we've got here is that this is the Fiocchi one, which next to that S&B is the biggest one. We'll feed ourselves in here real quick, and I'll show you that if you push down on this all the way, it does come out. So not an issue there. This one though, by the time you get up to the .889, you've really got to mash on this button and mash the hell out of it to get this bigger rim to come out. As you can see, I did it, but you really take some force to get that one out. Again, when you're talking about .883 and .884 as the norm, and you go up to .889, can you fault the firearm for that and the manufacturer for that? I mean, think about it. If they designed this release to be able to easily eject that .889 as opposed to the more standard .883, .884 that we found, that means you could just barely touch that and push that in and it'd be ejecting rounds. Nobody wants that. At some point, you've got to pick your tolerances and stick with them. And part of this reminds me of the AK, the AK-47 versus AR, debate when you start going with 7.62 by 3.9. You have to pick some standards and stick to them. CMMG did an amazing job with their MK-47 Mutant. They've got much tighter tolerances, and it provides much better reliability, much better functioning. The thing is, though, you start getting into some of these outliers for some of these mil-cert magazines. Most of them worked in that Mutant. I don't want to get too far off topic. We've got videos on it if you want to see it. But some of those mags that are not quite to spec, that they actually won't fit and lock into the mag well. It is what it is, right? You've got to pick some sort of standard and stick to it if you can't have that much slop in an AR, let's say, as you can in an AK, right? Anyway, I think I've digressed enough on that point. Hopefully this information was helpful to you. Check that link down below. I will put those numbers in the article. That'll be at 13cgunreviews.com. Facebook.com/gunreviews. Feel free to leave your comments here, but just understand that there are comments that we just do not get notified on. I try and check back on recent videos a couple times over a couple of weeks. But if it's a video that's been out for a few weeks, those YouTube notifications are garbage. You won't. It's almost impossible for me to see them. It's much better to leave a message, on one of the recent posts on either Facebook or Instagram. We're on Instagram as well. We're at 13cgunreviews. You can drop us a note at Twitter as well. We don't use Twitter too much, but those notifications, if you tag us in them, actually do come through, which is nice to see. Patreon, if you'd like to support us there, we'd really appreciate it. And we've got some cool new t-shirts out from 1776 United as we get into this holiday season. They'll be running more sales. All of our shirts will be discounted under those sales for whatever those sales and discounts are that 1776 United decides to do. We told them just include ours in whatever you're doing because we'd like to get the shirts out there to you guys who want some. I know we've had a lot of questions on that. The rest of our swag, our patches and stuff like that is available at 13cgunreviews.com. You can find over to a link there to our Big Cartel site. At the top of the page you'll see a thing that says support 13C at our online swag shop. And it's all unique stuff you'll find there. You won't find anywhere else. Check out those other videos on the TS12 if you want more information on that. And thank you again. We really appreciate your support. Without your likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions, I wouldn't do it. We appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.